You may be doing this unconsciously, and it's killing your client connection.
That's Susie Edwards. I'm Angie Robertson, and here at SEER, we believe in the power of practical tools to coach effectively. Let's dig in.
Do it.
So, what is it? What are we doing that's killing our client connection?
Tell me, Angie, what's happening?
Well, I think it really is about worrying too much.
Hmm.
So like worrying, like, how do I look as I fix my hair? How do I sound? Is what I'm gonna say gonna upset my client? Like just really being in your head.
Yeah.
And it's like, let me just preface that by saying, we're not saying say anything and don't care about your client. We're talking about that level of worry that will actually get in between you and your client and your connection because you're like too in your head about the job you're doing or about who you are. Um, and like this goes back to that connection is really one of the things that makes a great coach client relationship.
Yeah.
And when you're like focusing on yourself or worrying, you're really kind of killing off that connection in a way because there's just not that flow. I mean, we'll say a little bit more about that, but I'm going to stop there and see if you have anything to add just in this moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's probably all of it, but it really, when Angie and I were talking about this before, that worrying, it just overtakes your thoughts. And again, it's a lot of coaching is being very present for your clients and being there with them and validating their experiences in their lives and then taking that information, then helping them with their future. So you have to be really present for them and not here, just in your own head. So that is it. Yeah, that's a huge,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if I think back to when I first started coaching, I would say that this is one of the things that I had to work the most on.
Mhm.
I mean, there's knowing your method and like knowing your tools and like practically knowing like what you want to do with clients. Like
Yep.
there's that, and you've got to work on that. And I do think the more comfortable you feel with the tools that you have in your tool belt, the more confident you'll be as a coach. But, really like not being present with a client because you're so worried about them liking you more than you're present to doing the job that you've been hired to do, which is help them get somewhere new in their life or help them overcome an obstacle is really just going to be a connection killer, like we said. And I do remember, like, when I would get feedback or I would ask for help and I felt like confused about how to help a client or stuck or like a relationship with a client wasn't very, wasn't as connected or wasn't going well in my eyes. This really was the thing that I was often called out on and the thing that I had to work on, which is like, where am I not trusting myself to just deliver the message, deliver the tools, say what needs to be said? And instead, I had like that moment of worrying of like, are they going to like me? Are they going to come back? Are they going to be mad? And again, we're not saying don't deliver things, in a loving and caring way, but there's just a difference in like saying what needs to be said and trusting yourself to take somewhere to a new place, right? And like just not saying it because you're worried or too in your head.
Yeah. Totally. As you were talking to me, I was thinking about this other point too, which it also relates to worrying. But I remember having clients in the beginning that were was like a CEO or a surgeon, just something that like I just in my mind was way up here. And I'm like, I don't do those things. Like, how am I going to coach a CEO or, someone I thought that just knew way more than me in some area. It didn't even have to be anything specific. I just thought that that killed my confidence because I didn't think what I was bringing was going to help them because they were
Mm.
an expert in some field. Not true. Like they're coming to you because they're they're lost, a little bit lost. They don't know the steps, they don't have the tools. And that has nothing to do with me being a surgeon or a CEO. That's not what they're coming to me for, right? So you have to remember, or, I'm I'm not, I don't go there anymore, but I just remember that being such an issue for me. And like you said, where you were being called out on, that was for me too. Like I had to be talked down. Like it's okay. Like you have the tools to help this person who is a human being that's having a hard time deciphering these roadblocks and why these things are getting in the way, why they're having a hard time having a conversation, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody's human. It's okay. And they came to you for help. So you know, I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but that was definitely a
Mhm.
confidence killer for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that when you're like, I'm gonna call it like in the zone and you're really like present with your client and you're really, you know, trusting yourself to hear what you need to hear and to say what you need to say to help that person,
Mhm.
like the more you do that, the more they're going to trust you, the more they're going to rely on you and come back to you and want your advice. And so it's kind of like that snowball in the other direction, right?
Hmm.
Where the more you say your truth and the more it resonates with them, the more they're going to want to hear from you.
Exactly.
So it's like a muscle that you've got to build though.
And I would say that would also wrap around to being present, right? Back again. Like you have to be there present for them and hearing them, and they know that you're showing up for them and you're not lost somewhere. Because I think you can tell when someone's not really present there with you and not really giving you the feedback that you're needing, right? So yeah.
Yeah, one way I could really tell was that um I had a lot of like chatter in my head, like as someone was talking. It was almost like
Hmm.
I was talking to myself about what I wanted to tell them or what is this going to sound right or what do I do here rather than just being with them and like again allowing myself to hear, be present and then deliver
See what
whatever
they
coaching
need.
or tool that I trusted myself to deliver.
Exactly.
There's a zone. I mean, I
There is a
think
zone.
it's we were talking before. It's it's almost hard to go back to it because I actually experience it less and less now, but I definitely remember it being a thing that I really had to work on.
Yeah. I mean, I think for any new coach, there's probably going to be a lot of head chatter, right? Because it's still new, it's still fresh. You're not really sure which tool to be giving. You think it's this one. Maybe end up giving too much, and at some point you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is way too many," or "I haven't given enough." There's just a lot of chatter that happens in the beginning, and I think that's okay, right? So just know that that's normal,
Hmm.
right? And then just do what you need to do so that you feel calm with your client and so you can be very present and hear them so you know what to do next. And it's okay. You're going to go through that and it'll get better and better.
Yes, and I think that the more you talk to other coaches and sort of share your experience or have a mentor who can help you distinguish
Mhm.
when you're kind of going into this like worry zone, I would say, or ego zone versus when you're really trusting yourself and you're in that flow, that the positive zone, I would say, of coaching, that can be really helpful. I know it was for me, really like just sharing my own experience, sharing where I was feeling not as confident, and then kind of working through it in like live, feedback sessions with another person definitely helped.
Yeah. The theme is worrying.
The theme is worrying.
The theme is worrying. So yeah, if you are unconsciously worrying, stop.
Yes,
And
trust
then
yourself.
trust yourself. And the truth is, the confidence builder is coaching over and over again, getting the help, getting the feedback, and just becoming more and more confident as you do it, the more you
Well,
practice.
and knowing you don't have to be perfect.
And you don't have to be perfect.
You don't have to be
Never,
perfect.
never.
We're in
Yeah,
an evolving relationship with our clients, so
exactly.
that's the truth.
That's the truth.
Okay, if this sparks something in you, don't forget, subscribe and like this video, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.